Well, now it seems that Grush is saying the government leaked his personal medical information.
Have you faced any retaliation or reprisals for any of your testimony or anything?
He acknowledged that he'd suffered from PTSD when he returned from Afghanistan.
He's like one of the best UFO investigators out there, and he was one of the first people to throw cold water on all of this. So what was your first clue, Ben? You were so quick.
Well, thanks for teaming me up for such high expectations, first of all. So what's really weird about this... the whole thing is weird. Okay, so let's try to unpack this a little bit. The events, a lot of the events that are being reported are true. We have video of the authorities showing up. We have video of the villagers running out into the jungle shooting at something, okay? But after the investigation, what they come out with is they say that the prosecutor says that they believe the police investigation summarizes that these were miners protecting gold, okay, with jetpacks, that they're flying around on jetpacks with hoods and masks and glowing something and going around cutting people's throats. So let that sit just for a second. It really sounds like an episode of Scooby-Doo.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to a very, very fresh jungle evening on Alien Addict. And it is a jungle evening because we're gonna talk about a bit of the jungle tonight. You know, Predator and all that jazz. Thank you so much to my good editing pal and lover, Stu Little there, who has kindly done the intro tonight. And put a few Predator sounds on there. Those weren't real, guys. Those sounds didn't happen. Just so you know. But you know, it's a little bit of something to make your nipples hard. Speaking of nipples being hard, Nick,
hey,
Q, welcome to the show, my lads. Q, the man, the myth, the legend. We go back, like I don't know, since I started puberty, I think.
Yeah, don't make me feel too old.
Nick, we did a show. You're not old, mate. What was it? About
3 weeks ago? About 3 weeks ago. Yeah, discussing about the Nazi flying saucer programs of World War II. Yeah.
Nazis and UFOs. Great mix. Great show. Go watch that, people. Not now, though. Watch it afterwards. So this Peru thing we're not just going to do the Peru thing. We'll do a bit of Grush, bit of Peru, bit of Ghost, whatever. You know, it's Alien Addict, nipples, and all that jazz. The Peru thing, I'll be honest with you, I picked this up late. Lee's like, have you not even thought about mentioning this yet? And Lee did the Rockfin show last night, and I know he spoke about it, but I hadn't looked too much into it, and then I started binge watching it, and I couldn't make tonight, but it's like you do know it's the miners that are doing it. You know, these illegal miners that have attacked these people of this village, and I'm like, really? So and then today we get the God's gift to ufology. News Nation that is the UFO KLS. It's I think it's the same company. It is the same company. I'm pretty sure it's the same company. It's odd. So the world we live in right now, we've got villagers being attacked from fucking the Green Goblin from Spider-Man, but it's miners, and I'm just wondering, how they might have pulled that shit off.
Yeah, it's almost like the Los Angeles 2.0, isn't it? Really, it's. I mean, to be honest, I was late on the game because every time I hear anything that comes out from like Mexico, Peru, I mean, you got to think these places are deep in legend, like especially mythology and sort of mythical creatures. And it kind of reminds me of like the Chupacabra. I know it's not the same sort of place, but that's a sort of their way of life, isn't it? Really, when you look at sort of places like Mexico, especially Peru. So I'm going to be honest with you, I'm very skeptical when anything that comes out, and it's only recently those really grainy footage that comes out, and people are saying, "Oh yeah, look at these aliens! You can see the eyes and all that." And I'm thinking, yeah, to be honest, but we will go through all that in due course. But yeah, it kind of feels like it's the Los Angeles 2.0, and you're quite right, Ollie. Everything's just gone UFO alien mad, isn't it? At the moment, it's such a short amount of time. Grush and all this sort of stuff coming out, the Congress hearings, Senate hearings, and all that. So yeah, it's quite full on at the moment. But unfortunately, I'm going to be quite skeptical.
I do think. I mean, you do have to have a skeptical mind, and that's exactly why I wanted to bring Q on, because he's probably the biggest skeptic I've ever met when it comes to this stuff. But I'm probably going to have a very different outlook on this thing, but which I like to have the yin and yang on Alien Addict, and I think you two are probably going to have a completely different outlook to what I think. So, I would like to hear what you think, you.
I think with any UFO case, and particularly with what we're looking at the moment, to do with the Peru instance, is we don't want it to get too diluted, because we've already got people trying to make the connection between this one and the Brazilian incident the other month. What a farce that was. We need to go into the details, the specifics, and analyze everything bit by bit, because even though we've only really got 3 things, we've got the 15-year-old girl, we've got the alien on the rooftop, and we've got the firefight.
And we also have the guy speaking afterwards to the, I think, they were doing their own news report.
There was also a body that was pulled out the river. We can't show that footage. I don't know if you've seen that. I don't know if you've really taken a deep dive. But but we'll go into that. Yeah, so you got those things to go into detail of. But yeah,
but we need to go through them individually.
Yeah. So I will say this. So my wife's from Ecuador. One day I'll bring her to England. No, she's from Ecuador. She speaks fluent Spanish. It's not actually that far from Peru, I think, if geography's right. But it's kind of like so it's like me listening to I don't know, somebody with a really strong Irish accent to her listening to the Peruvians speaking. So I went upstairs today and I said, "Can you translate all this to me?" So she translated it, and I said, "Can I just say, does it seem like if they're acting?" She says, "No, they're absolutely terrified." And she was listening to the woman speak about her baby. She was listening to the guy talk about that we're scared, explain it. And I says, "Right, what if I told you that it was miners that was terrorizing them?" Because, and she's like, I mean, these people aren't stupid, she said, just because they don't have, you know, the fact of the matter is they are a bit behind the time in these villages. They don't have the best smartphones. They have a lot of knockoff phones, and a lot of them are like Nokia 3210s. I've traveled to places where people don't that are behind on tech. So from what they've explained and the way I've heard other YouTubers say it, but I wanted to listen to somebody who actually speaks fluent Spanish. I actually said, would you actually mind, you know, nipping downstairs tonight and doing a translation? But she don't want to be seen on YouTube, you know, not without makeup. But she believes, she doesn't really believe in any of this shit, even though I do it, but she believes that they believe that's what they saw. She believes that. From what she's seen, she says it doesn't seem like, because I did looking at it, and I don't speak the lingo other than una cerveza por favor. That's about it. She said that it doesn't sound like acting. It sounds like genuine. You can hear, especially with the woman. And I when I was listening to it, because I was thinking about the little kid they're being scared of for the kids. It does sound like they are terrified. So whether this is minors doing this or not, something weird's fucking going on there.
Yeah, you're right.
But the weird thing is, if it is minors, the world is trying to make us think it's fucking aliens, which is even weirder.
You're quite right, Ollie. Is chaos in the videos, the ones I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell everyone's scared. The children, the adults, literally fearing for their life. I mean, like you said, it's all in Spanish. I can't hear it or translate any of it, but you can generally feel, I think, oh God, yeah, there's something. They've seen something, and this sort of adds a bit of credibility. But I think she was right. We need to break this down, but you need to take that into consideration as well. I mean, do you think it's just hype? You know, one person starts getting excited, then the other one. It's like a chain reaction. And everyone's thinking, oh, yeah, there's aliens out there. So let's go out and do like a scavenger hunt or something like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's almost like a group thing, you know? So, yeah, I don't know for people really, but you have to take that consideration as well, I think.
Well,
yeah, you're right. It's chaos, absolute chaos.
Hugh, you've got gunshots. You've got dogs fucking going berserk, which trained dogs will go berserk anyway if you've got fucking trespassers, if you have trained your dogs well. But you've got the people of the village explaining people in shiny fucking suits hovering off the ground wearing weird glow
discs
boots, hovering in 1 meter off the ground, and they're about 7 foot tall. And now we have the authorities have said they've gone in and investigated and said it's minors. So I'm wondering if you've got illegal miners there for the gold, how do they convince a small village that they are aliens?
Ollie, can I just break it down so the people know the whole event? I've just got in bullet points here, so people just understand the whole story. So basically, a 15-year-old girl claimed that she was abducted by these entities. She managed to break free, run back to the village where she had a laceration on her neck. I cannot find the photo, the actual original photo. It's all been blurred out. I've looked everywhere for it. So I can't confirm or deny that. But what people have said, it looks really real. So when she went back to the village, she said, look, I've been attacked by these creatures. And the villagers who says, oh my God, you got those lacerations across the neck, something very serious. So they got all their baseball bats, like a whole gang of them, and went out with guns. And you can see in the footage. And basically that's how it all kicked off. Now, I think the girl or the people that were doing the scavenger hunt, the villagers, described these beings as 7 foot tall. They had a silvery bodysuit, almost like an armor, what they described that as. and the creatures were described, like Ollie said earlier, like the goblin from Spider-Man.
Yeah, the green goblin.
And they had like either shoes or silver discs underneath their feet, and this is what caused them to levitate.
The glue red.
Yeah, that glowed red. Yeah, so this is what the villagers described these creatures, and obviously, all chaos sort of broke loose from there. So that's just a basic background of the event. So it all started with this 15-year-old girl. So yeah, that's just a simple breakdown.
The picture of the girl is available on Reddit.
Yeah. Oh, is it the actual?
What, with the lacerations showing?
Apparently so. I haven't seen it
you
myself.
have not seen it? I've heard people
No.
say they've seen it. I've not seen it either. I couldn't find. I tried to find it today and I couldn't find it.
This
Yeah, I
all
couldn't find it either.
started on the 11th of July, so 1 month ago.
I kind of understand that, and I wouldn't want, even if it. Well, I kind of understand with it being a 15-year-old girl, if she's a witness in an attack, why they may want to cover up her face. I get that.
If you're going to put it on mainstream media, it's going to be.
But again, I say we need to break down every bit as we go along with this, because what we're seeing on the videos, right? If we take the videos as being legitimate, truthful, non-hoaxes, if we start off and look at it that way, then we can start working through the information that way, and then we can look at maybe the other side of it.
So the videos are definitely not hoaxes. That stuff is definitely happening, because that's all over Peruvian TV.
They do seem legit.
Yeah. So that bit is legit. Is it alien? I need, what is his Giorgio, big head guy, big hair? I can't remember. What's his fucking surname from Ancient Aliens? Giorgio, never mind.
Yeah, guy with crazy hair.
Yeah. It looks like something off Babylon 5. Yes, the videos are real. So that's one thing that I think we can take from this. The people are terrified. I don't think it's acting. One, because so my wife watches a lot of Spanish films, which I usually leave the room because I don't understand it, and I can't read the subtitles very fast enough to understand it either. But she said it doesn't seem like acting at all. It seems very legit, and they seem terrified. Especially the interview afterwards, where they're kind of doing a self interview of what's happened, where they're asking the authorities to come in. Apparently, the authorities have been in.
The Navy.
The investigation has happened, and it's minors.
Well, I know the villagers. I think either the village or the police asked the Navy to come along, which they did. It was kind of strange to do an investigation, and the police and the Navy came up with the idea that these were miners using jetpacks. I can believe that, but that's where the story came from. It came from the police that investigated it, and the Navy investigated it as well, and they both said, "Oh, it's just miners looking for gold, so they can create workforce there and push the tribe out and make a new living." Basically, that's their explanation. But miners using jetpacks, I find that very.
The people in these areas are exceptionally superstitious. So the idea of miners trying to move them off their land so they can move in and search for gold sounds perfectly feasible, except if we're listening to what the people are telling us that they have seen, it totally contradicts the idea of the miners, because otherwise, like you've just said, Nick, it means that we have miners flying around with jetpacks, who hover above the ground, are
Not
able to
jetpacks,
disappear.
Q, jet shoes.
Well, jet shoes, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we're
Maybe
talking
they went
back to the future
Back
shit.
to the Future, yeah. Just they've gone one stage better than some stupid hoverboard. But yeah, if we're gonna believe what the government is or what the news is saying, we have miners trying to force people off the land so they can mine for gold, and these people would protect their land
Absolutely, yeah.
with
definitely.
guns.
Yeah.
And if these miners were dressed up as aliens or whatever, they would shoot to kill them. But we've got these miners going in a silver suit with jet shoes so they
Also,
can get the people off the land to mine their gold. That doesn't add up to me.
Serena did say when it all was breaking loose and the firing the guns, she translated one of them was saying it's in the trees. That's fucking Predator.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's I mean
Get
I
to
know
the chopper.
yeah, miners are probably like quite fit, you know, because they do a lot of digging and that, but I don't know how good they are at climbing. The miners, not climbers, you know.
Yeah, but they just used their jet shoes to get up there, didn't they?
Clip that, Stu. Miners, not climbers. I'll play. Let's play the news, the absolute
Oh,
god's
this is
gift to
with Ben
ufology.
Hansen in it.
This has happened before. Miners will go in and try to scare the wits out of villagers by pretending to look like aliens, etc. Ben Hansen is an expert. He is like one of the
Just has that happened before? Miners have gone. She said this has happened before. Am I hearing that right? 'Cause that sounds ridiculous to me. But is it true? Do miners normally dress up as aliens to scare villagers?
This has happened before. Miners will go in and try to scare the wits out of villagers by pretending to look like aliens, etc. Ben Hansen is an expert. He is like one of the best UFO investigators out there, and he was one of the first people to throw cold water on all of this. So what was your first clue, Ben? You were so quick with your assessment.
Well, thanks for teeing me up for such high expectations, first of all. So what's really weird about this, the whole thing is weird, okay? So let's try to unpack this a little bit. A lot of the events that are being reported are true. We have video of the authorities showing up. We have video of the villagers running out into the jungle shooting at something, okay? But after the investigation, what they come out with is they say that the prosecutor says that they believe the police investigation summarizes that these were miners protecting gold, okay, with jetpacks, that they're flying around on jetpacks with hoods and masks and glowing something and going around cutting people's throats. So let that sit just for a second. It really sounds like an episode of Scooby-Doo where, you know, Mr. Withers puts on a goblin mask and is trying to protect his gold. It is almost far-fetched as the fact that the villagers believe these are 7-foot aliens.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation
And all your latest UFO stuff. Q, I think you've muted yourself, mate.
Sorry, I did, yeah. He got cut off awfully quickly there. Now, if he'd have said, oh, yeah, I believe it's minus, would he have gotten a little bit more airtime? Because she did cut him, you know, that was extremely short. You know, she's got a professional investigator, one of the best investigators ever. As
she does say this at the beginning.
This has happened before. Miners will go in and try to scare the wits out of villagers.
Yes, scare the wits out of them. Wearing, dressed up as aliens.
Hovering aliens.
I think it's the type of subjects where it's so wackadoo when you look at it. I think you just want to have a quick clip because at the moment it makes views, doesn't it? Really, I mean, News Nation, they're going to talk, of course, they're going to talk about UFOs and aliens, so they don't want to go in a deep dive into it. So I think you're quite right, Q. He was definitely cut off, or the interview was probably a lot longer. But it's just that sort of subject they don't really dive in. Deep dive. It's just like, oh, here it is. It sounds ridiculous. Let's move on. So that's how I got my impression from this interview.
Yes, so thank you so much for the super chat there, Jen. There is an ancient belief that alien face peelers. I've heard of only because of this, but that is very factual information. They do call them face peelers, and there is a police video. Nick did mention that police video, which I don't know if I should show that on here or not.
Be very careful. Some channels have been getting slammed with copyright for different bits that they've shown.
Yes, I
was going to say, Ollie.
Lee showed it last night on Rockfin. But yeah, that is it. I've looked at that video quite a few times now and thought, is that real? Is that because the skull looks too
it looks too clean.
It looks so clean, yeah. And the eye sockets are just completely out and it looks hot, like there's nothing there. But it looks so well done. Have you seen it, Q? Like you can see. Do you think that's real?
Well, at first, when I was looking at it, I was thinking, could this be a mask? And when you see them moving the body away, round about when the police officer trips, there's a couple of ridges on the top of the head where you're looking at clean skull. And those ridges don't really make sense to me. The ridges aren't normally there on a human skull unless somebody has had an injury that's healed over. At the same time, if it was a mask, I can't quite get my head around how they've done the neck part. Because that doesn't
fucking hollow.
Yeah. And the body does appear to move the way a body would. One thing I did notice that nobody has brought up is the arm that the police officer on the right is holding. When he drops the body on the wrist here, there appears to be some sort of a circle that you can't quite make out whether it's a piece of damaged skin. Also, there seems to be some bruising, or it could be where the body has been lying there for a small period of time.
The body is not decomposed, isn't it? It's not it's not floating stage. So it's...
Oh no, it's not got that far at that point.
Yeah.
But there does seem to be some discoloration around the shoulder, going over the back slightly, which if the body had been lying on its back for a while since death, that would make sense for blood to settle. But at the same time, there's not a blood there. But I think they're trying to give over the fact that whatever happened didn't happen where the body was found. The body is being put there afterwards because it's...
There's my lad. Lee, the blood is pooling under the skin.
Yeah. There is a darkness over the back of the shoulders, which would make sense if the body had been there for a period of time. But there isn't a lot of blood. But if the body is being dumped there after the fact, that could explain why some of the blood has gone.
Go down a conspiracy route, though, there's not a lot of blood when you look at these cow mutilations.
No, there isn't.
You just see a clean cut, and what you'd imagine there would be blood all over the skull, and you do see a clean white skull, almost looks bleached. I wonder if there's, I mean, everybody does. They depict a skeleton as this yellow thing, but in reality, that's when it starts to get old, isn't it? You know, if you cut into bone, it's fucking white.
If you look at the skull, it's very, very clean, almost like a Jeffrey Dahmer sort of bleach clean, you know, like very white. Could you guys remember back in 2012, there was a guy on bath salts that ate a homeless man's face? Could you remember that? I don't know if anyone in the chat remember that. And it's actually it's something called bath salts. It was an artificial drug, and it will make you absolutely loopy. And this guy took it, and he basically ate this homeless man's face. The homeless man survived, but you can actually see pictures of his face. It is chewed up.
Yeah,
look at it.
Horrendous.
It's horrendous, and the guy survived. But you look at that compared to what this is, it's complete opposite. If you were to say this was piranhas, that face would have been absolutely in a horrendous mess. I think it'd be completely disfigured. But it's such a clean cut, and like you said, Q, that the neck area, and it's hollow inside as well. And normally it's quite it's quite solid, isn't it? It's quite meaty, isn't it? The neck area.
Has a doctor analysed that? Is there any videos of a doctor analysing it?
That I don't know, Wally. That's a good point.
Not that I've seen.
I'm pretty sure that there'll be some people in the chat or people that are watching this video after that know a little bit about anatomy. If you watch that video and then get back to us, here's the email. Give us a full rundown.
I'm gonna say about this footage. I don't know if it's actually linked to this event. I think
it was before. I think Lee said that on last night's show. I was listening to it on the way home from work. I wasn't on last night's Rockfin.
So is this actually connected to this event? I mean, before the show started, there's a podcast I was listening to called Timothy. Oh, I forgot his name. I'll find it in a minute. But he interviewed someone that actually lived in Peru, in the area where the scene actually happened. And he was saying for months, and literally like 2 months, all this activity of aliens and kind of like paranormal shit, because it's almost like balls of light, like he was explaining. And he says it's some weird stuff that's been going on. If that's the case, where's this footage? You know, if it's been going on for months, I'd love to see the extra footage that people have got. But just this event, it's got a lot of people's attention, so it's probably worth looking into that podcast. It's quite good, but apparently it's been happening for months. Apparently,
do you know what this reminds? I picked up the phone to. Well, I sent a voicemail to Lee and Dave in our group chat, and we did a show a while back, and we spoke about Bluebeam, and I'm going to give it a little bit of conspiracy nipples here, just because this is what Alien Addict does. But I often wondered if they wanted to pull off something like Bluebeam, the best way to pull it off would be to pull it off on a small community that have not much technology. They're out in the sticks, and it would get reported, and then it would start going viral. But they've been, because the community is so small, there would be no way to disprove anything either way. So it would get people doing the debunks, it would get people talking, until you get another one in another small community, and then another one, and another one. And then what the fuck's going on?
But then it boils down to evidence, footage.
Yeah, I agree.
This is it. Have you got the footage? I think it's probably worth going into this now, because have you seen the police footage? Not the skull one, the one when they're actually in the forest trying to look for these entities.
Is that the one with the green thing that's on the roof?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it
reminds me of what you call it, the scene in signs where I know it's in a different position where the alien walks across the road and then they're like, like it reminded me of that. I don't have that. I do have it somewhere. I will get it up, Nick. But
well, it is somewhere.
Let's not have dead air while I'm looking for it. I'll look at it. You guys talk.
That's all right.
I will bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, as we'll show the footage, it's so grainy. I mean, Ollie's saying about the phone cameras are not what we have. It's not exactly, you know, amazing quality. But I think people are looking too far ahead. I mean, we're looking to this footage now, and it's just so grainy. And every time they slow things down, and the more zoomed in it is, it's more pixelated. And those pixels, they can make out, oh, look, there's some eyes, there's a face. And you can kind of like outline like an alien, but it really is just, it's not solid proof, to be honest with you. You know, you're trying to make out something out of pixels, and it's just not solid evidence. But once Ollie brings it up, we'll have a look. But that's what I'm getting off it.
That's all we get these days, it's pixels. We get pixels.
Yeah. It's the same again with the Los Angeles one. It's just you're just trying to make pixels out of stuff, you know.
Well, the thing is, with this case, they can explain that, you know. Oh well, they've only got old cameras. They're zooming in. You know, if somebody was using the latest iPhone or the latest Samsung, you know, they do really good night photography. But with the older ones, then they're not that good. And when they zoom into, I think it's 656 times or something like that, rather than looking at a few thousand pixels on the screen, we're probably looking at about 80 pixels on the screen. So you can read anything into that blur of pixels you want to. Pareidolia is a very, very powerful thing.
I couldn't think of the word. Is that what it's called, Q? Is it
Pareidolia, where you think you can see, let's say, a face in a cloud.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Or on Mars.
Yeah. This is, yeah, I think you need to apply that to this footage. Is just to try to make something out of pixels, really. Have you got the footage, Ollie? So I've got it here.
Have you got it?
Yeah. I'll if I can remember how to do it.
Yeah, put it in the link in the private chat.
Okay, cool. I'll do that now. Sweet.
I have found it, but there's just loads of people that are mumbling on through it, and so I just wanted to get just a pure one. If you got a pure one, that's beautiful.
Try that one, Ollie. Just send it to you.
Got it.
If you skip to,
yeah, I'm gonna say where is it?
3852, and that's where the footage is. 3852.
I will put this video in the description after as well, because this is a great. I like this guy.
Yeah, this is the guy I was talking about with the podcast.
What is it? 3812. 3812. So Timothy, don't you fuck me over with a copyright strike. I'll put you in the description. It's fair use.
Oh, sorry, I only put 39. Sorry, 39.
39.
Yes, sorry, mate.
Don't worry, mate. Got it. 39. There we go. One second, guys. Novice here. I can't help it.
Do you know how much footage there is? Is it just this one with the alien on the roof? Because I know there's police shooting.
Is it the police shooting? I thought that was the villagers shooting.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it was the villagers that were shooting, but you can't really make out anything of that footage. But this one is the alien on the roof, supposedly.
So this is Timothy how do you pronounce his surname?
Alberino.
Alberino's channel. I will put that in
Atticus.
the description, people. It's a
What
good
they're calling
There's where we zoomed in earlier. Eye, and what we think is the head, right here.
Yeah. So
hiding.
okay. So what we're looking at in this video, we have a lot of agitated villagers and a dog or two in here. These guys are genuinely agitated and terrified. Okay, you can hear it in their voices. I can understand what they're saying in Spanish. This is the jungle lingo. This is the kind of Spanish I speak really well. So what's really amazing about this video, yes, it's blurry, yes, it's pixelated, okay, but keep in mind that these people living in the jungle, they've upgraded the smartphones by this time, but they've got the cheapest smartphones on the market. They're not walking around with your Apple
Good
iPhone,
point.
okay?
Yeah.
These guys are buying Chinese knockoff phones that can barely capture video. That's why we're looking at such low resolution. And anybody who says, how come there's not a ton of video? Because not everybody in this little village, these Iquitu natives, even have phones, okay? So there's probably only a small percentage of them who even have smartphones, okay? So when you play this video again, what you hear in the beginning is you hear a man yell, there it is, as they're flashing a flashlight right on it.
And by the way, that is exactly what the wife said as well. She said that is what, it does seem like it's not. She said it seems like they're not saying it's a guy up there. It seems like they're fucking shocked, whatever this is.
Mm-hmm.
And welcome, Hidden, my lad. Thought you were having the night off.
Hello. No, there's something I wanted to talk about. So
great.
Guys. So I'll wait till you finish.
All right, my lad.
Let me roll the script.
And they're trying to get the dogs in the backyard here as well. You can hear them saying, put them in the huerta. And the dog, because the dog is obviously irate. And so the people are stunned, they're terrified, and they're shouting, there it is. And they're literally putting a flashlight on something. Now, what exactly that something is anyone's guess, but it is a something, and it is moving. And you can...
That I would agree. It's definitely...
I don't know, is it? I don't think it's moving, though. I think it's stationary.
Do you think it's stationary? It does look like it moves, but hang about that. You have got light.
Bouncing around, isn't it?
See, especially again, this is highly compressed because of Zoom, but you can see in some of these frames, you can see two eyes and a bulbous head. Right there, you can see an eye, you can see the right eye there and the top of the head. Now, let's assume that what we're looking...
I'm sorry, I don't see it at all. Can you guys make that out? I can.
It's hard to make out. I will say that, but I'm wondering at the same time, and this is when I was asking the missus, says, does this sound like they are kind of acting it? She's like, no, it doesn't sound like they're acting at all. It sounds like they're fucking shitting themselves.
I don't think they're acting. They don't appear to be acting, but I don't think whatever it is they are seeing or think they're seeing, I don't think this footage does it justice for us watching.
I agree.
I personally, I'd have to agree with Nick. I can't see that thing moving. The only thing I see moving is, for some reason, they've only got one torchlight on it. Yeah. Why have they only got one torchlight on it when there's apparently a group of people there?
There's a rule to a village, one torch per village, that's it.
So where's the other footage? Is that just the only... I can't find any other footage. I mean, if there's a group of people, more than one people would have a phone with them.
With the smartphone, yeah, with the smartphone thing though, Nick, I will say this: I've been to places where people just don't have fucking smartphones.
They share the smartphone.
They can't afford them.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Welcome, Hidden, my brother. How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm sorry, man. I just wanted to. Can I go back to the footage of the face peeler that you guys were talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, that's not from Peru. I sent over what I found. No, it's not from Peru. It's actually from Brazil, and it was posted about 2 months ago in Reddit. I sent it over to Stuart Little, so he can see. Hey, this is what I'm sorry about this, and I have to apologize, but
This is great.
I like the truth. I like the truth. I sent the link over. Do you want me to send the link over to you on Twitter so you can see for yourself? And I'm not Billy bullshitting.
Can we? No. Can we play it?
No.
I don't think you can play the footage because it's a better footage, because the footage that you guys were looking at was somebody filming off of their phone. They were filming the footage. I've got the footage that they were watching on the phone, and that was posted 2 months ago, and it's claimed that was from Brazil. But
did you say people are starting to get pulled for playing this on YouTube?
I didn't say that.
No, Nick. I think Nick said that.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Well, they probably would. They probably would because of the gore.
Yeah, it's a bit gory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to clear that up. That footage has nothing to do with the Peru thing.
No, that's cool, Hidden. That's amazing, mate. That's I appreciate
again,
it because
I've got mud in the waters.
Well, that's what happens. Look at all the crap that was floating around after the Vegas sighting. So, with any kind of story like this, you're gonna get people that want clicks and views, and they want something new. So they're gonna put any rubbish out, and they're gonna hope like people are not going to dig or can't find it, because this is a pretty buried footage. Also, do you want me to send you the link over, Ollie, so you can
send me? Yeah. Send me it, my lad. So Hidden, today we were speaking, and you said, or was it yesterday? I can't remember. It was you that put me on the miners trail.
The Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. What do you think about that miner story?
I'm going backwards and forwards with that one, because I spoke to somebody about it, and I said, yeah, look, they're reporting that it's miners, and like you turned around and said, come on, that's what they would say, wouldn't they? And like basically what we've agreed on, there's no proof either way. There's no tangible proof that they're aliens, but there's no tangible proof that they were illegal miners trying to scare the village out so they can get the gold.
I mean, the way when I spoke to my missus, I don't know if you've been listening to the show prior, but when I spoke to my missus today and asked her to translate everything for me, she's like, and then I said apparently it's illegal miners that have gone in and scared these people. And she just kind of looked at me and she just said something along the lines, I can't remember it word for word, but the people, they're not got the most amount of technology or money, but she lived in Ecuador, which is kind of down the road. They're not stupid people, It's kind of insulting to say that some miners would be able to pull off.
That's like, because weren't they saying that these creatures are aliens? Let's use the word aliens. And let's go with the story that they're saying. I believe they're saying that these aliens were hovering and stuff like that. They were flying around and stuff. So then for miners to be out there getting jetpacks, that's kind of, you'd rather just burn a village down to get rid of them. And I'm not saying that's what we need to do, because no. But it's too elaborate to be flying around in jetpacks and all that. But what's going on then? Because why are the press reporting, and they're not saying it is 100%, but that's the hypocrisy that they're going with. I
mean, if the miners
right?
Yeah. If the miners want them to stay away, just take a couple of PlayStation 5s in the village and say, look, listen, just keep hush.
Well, don't they need them gone? Sorry, I'll be quiet.
No, carry on.
No, don't they need them gone though?
Are they apparently under the gold?
I haven't got a clue.
I mean, if this is the truth as well,
I'm shoeless about this.
They've just told us where a fucking big chunk of fucking gold is, people.
I think we need to go back to the girl, because this is where it all came from It was from this girl with the laceration. You know, the aftermath is all chaos and jumbled up. And to be honest with you, we're never going to get to the actual root of the actual scenario, basically. But it's what happened to the girl. She had the laceration, and she claimed that she was abducted. And then that was the pinpoint where everything went forward. So do we believe her? I mean, I haven't seen the actual photo of the laceration itself. I don't know if you guys seen it. I cannot find it anywhere on the internet. But this, I think we need to look at that story, you know, her side of the story. Ollie, have you got any footage of her being interviewed on TV? Because I couldn't find anything.
I should have got all this sort of stuff.
I'm
ready,
sure.
shouldn't I?
Because she sounds shocked. She does sound shocked from what I saw. But
would you be able to understand what she's saying? Because I think I might be able to find that.
Yeah, bang it up. Yeah, we could. If you find it, if it's on YouTube, if you hit translate, and we can get subtitles.
Okay, look, I'm going to go quiet and see if I can find it for you guys. I
No
might
worries,
be
my
able
lad.
to find it.
Well, the thing is, if we now know that that piece of footage was from a month previous, from 2 months ago, we're already starting to rip this apart.
Yeah, but Q, on the back of that was on the back of this village that being attacked, somebody's put that out. So them calling it face peelers, somebody's then probably gone, this dead body that happened to have its face peeled off would go really well with this story, and it's going to make my fucking channel go viral or my TikTok or whatever. Let's bang this out and let's just say it's there. Nobody's going to batter an eyelid. So that's what a lot of people do with stories. Like with the Vegas story, people were adding to it. So you didn't know where to look because everybody adds to these stories. But the actual attack on the village did happen.
Yep.
Saying about making fake footage. Have you seen the alleged photographs that were from the event? Have you seen it's actually like an alien creature glowing?
Yes.
And these are come from channels that are nothing to do with paranormal alien. And you're quite right, Ollie. You got all these channels are coming forward just because it makes clicks. They make all this fake stuff because they know UFOs and aliens and stories like this now gets the views, and this is what unfortunately we're dealt with now, really. So yeah, you got a good point there, Ollie. Really.
It actually looked really good, that little bright alien as well.
Yeah, have you seen it? Have you seen it?
Yeah, it reminded me of a cocoon.
I've seen two different lots of photographs. There was one where the alien is actually semi-see-through, which looks fake as hell. And then there's another gentleman who, I think his name was Cocaine something. He apparently took 3 photographs of the being, but has only shown 2 because one of them apparently was too blurry, which fair enough. Some people think that his photographs are legit and don't seem to be messed about with in any way. I'm not sure whether I completely agree with that, but
They hidden. I don't know if you can hear us, but our lovely mind blown here has said the village is actually only a few hundred miles from Brazil. I'm shit at geography. How close? Peru and Brazil, they are pretty close, aren't they? All right.
I have no idea.
I know Peru's close to Ecuador. That's where my missus is from.
I didn't know. I just know that. Well, what was reported? Because, like, I've sent you the link to that video. I'm just having a look to see if I can find the girl interviewed one.
But that would mean that event happened before the girl event. Because the
Yeah,
Gale event came out on the 11th of July.
but also we
if I
got to
remember
understand
rightly.
we got to know where Brazil is and understand the flow, because if Brazil is up, the body could have flowed right down if it was in the river, couldn't it? So we
But the
have to
thing is-
understand the current. Sorry.
Sorry, Hayden. I was going to say, with the body that was in the river, I said earlier that it doesn't look like there's like rigor mortis that's kicked
No,
in.
it didn't.
So
But
Yeah,
sometimes can't rigor mortis come in and then it can go unrigor. Am I correct?
Yeah, it can dissipate.
After a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
But if a body has been in water for a while,
it would have
it will
bloated.
bloat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Brazil
that
is
didn't look bloated because the skull
Not
on
at
it,
all.
like you guys were saying, it looked like some kind of mass. I'm not saying it looked like a mass. It looked. I agree with Ollie what he was saying. It looked more like, and that area, South America, is pretty famous for human mutilations to go along with the cow mutilations. So
Here's the thing, though. Even if that body wasn't in the area, even if that body, that footage is 5 years old, if it's close to the area, if there is a legend called the face peelers, that motherfucker's had its face peeled.
yeah, but don't the Brazilian gangs like to peel faces too and peel
It's a
peel
good peel,
skins?
that though. It's a good peel.
Man, they've had
I mean-
practice, haven't they?
Well,
It's not like
Grady,
it's not like
Grady
the
in
whole.
chat is saying that Brazil and Peru are roughly 1,600 miles away. That's a fair distance.
Yeah, it's not a few hundred miles, man.
It's not a floating distance, is it? Not a float, but it's still. I think that whole area, those kind of legends of these things, is very. It's big and it's vibrant. Now, one thing about stories out there, and my wife has said this. Also, I heard the guy on the video that we played the clip of mention this. A lot of stories get exaggerated because they do like to tell, big tales, folklore. They sit around fires and tell these huge stories. It doesn't disguise the fact that this happened and those people were terrified, though. Take the body out of the equation. The body's just been thrown in there. Those people were scared of something. And now the media is saying it's minors.
But the stories don't add up. If we want to believe what the people are saying that they're seeing, then we're seeing something that can move up into the air with bright glowing circular shoes. Now there are jetpacks that you can wear on your feet. Would a bunch of miners trying to get a bunch of people out of a town? I'd have to agree with Underbelly. Now, if they wanted to do that, they just burn the fucking town down. Burn them out.
Or scare them with demons,
Yeah, but there's
Rather
easier
than
ways.
aliens.
Do you want to scare them with demons or aliens, or do you just want to kill a couple of people, leave a few dead bodies lying around, make the people worried about going out at night, start burning the village down, the houses down? Those people, if they're not able to find somebody to blame, it's going to make them think about living there. I mean, I understand that these people are probably very superstitious, maybe religious.
Yeah, I mean, there's big religion around there.
But flying around with the jetpack, pretending to be an alien.
But this immediately links to the face peelers. This is what they refer them to, face peelers, and I can't really see any connection from the footage I've seen, obviously ruling out the body in the river, there's nothing really to go on except the laceration along the neck. I mean, you know, that's the only thing we've got to go on, really, is the boils down to the girl, you know, because she's the one that made a claim. She's the one that says that she was abducted and then ran away from it. So, yeah, you don't know. It's unfortunately, like I said, it's a Los Angeles 2.0 scenario again. You're just never going to know to the truth of it. It's going to go away within the next couple of weeks until the next story comes out, and then it'll be another pixelated.
It will. Again, that's the thing. It will. The next story will come out.
Yeah, but if this is,
you guys not find that odd?
If the events is still carrying on, I mean, that podcast I was mentioning, the Timothy podcast, you had the person who lives in Peru where the events happened, and he's been saying these events, these alien attacks, what he's been saying has been going on for a couple of months. So if that's the case, it'd be good to see what further information that comes out. But at the moment,
if any.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing, I think the South American government are more open, but they still like to cover up things, which is bizarre.
I mean, the whole reporting system over there to what it is in America and the UK is completely different. And, you know, the way things work, the way things work in one country to the next is always completely different. But
when it comes to UFOs, I mean, it's barely even reported in the British media. I mean, let alone the story. I don't think I've ever heard it on the BBC or any sort of UK mainstream media. It's mostly Peru. Is the Americans talking about it? I don't know if they are.
Well, the only place that any of this incident has actually been reported are in 2 newspapers, and unfortunately, we'd probably be better reading the Beano or the Dandy if we want to get to the truth, because they were in the Sun, that piece of crap, and the Daily Mail. I mean, both of these two,
the worst
pieces of trash.
Oh dear.
Also, fully believe the crap that comes out of Tyler's mouth.
Oh dear.
So
hidden sometimes in the Sun.
I hope Rupert Murdoch ain't listening to you right now, because you're gonna end up over a boat.
Or out a window.
It's just one of those things, man. I think the problem with this story is the translation. It's hard translating. Not many people. I mean, I would like to follow it, and I was kind of set down, like I said to Ollie, about it's like an episode out of Scooby-Doo, what they're saying. But then on talking to my friend, and I'm glad I talked to him, because we were talking about Grush, we were talking about this incident, and it's made me sit back and say, hold on, maybe something is going on out there.
I definitely think something's going on. I'm not in the camp that I'm not in the same camp that Cambian's in and that Lou Reviews is in, where they think it's all just one big grift. I think this is a little bit more than just a grift. I think this goes a little bit more down conspiracy avenue than just a grift. I do think there's grift in this. People can make money and monopolize off this whatever's going on. But I don't think it's a grift. I think there is a bigger picture to think about here. There's something very, very odd going on right now. So many people have said to me, "Oh, this has happened before. This has happened before." I don't think it has. Q, you've been in the UFO world for quite some time now. Has it happened like this before?
I
mean, obviously, we didn't have social media like it is now, but
I mean, we've had some great stories with large amounts of witnesses, like what happened in Australia with all the school kids, and a similar thing happened in.
Okay, let me rephrase it. Let me rephrase it. Has it happened like this before, that your next door neighbor or your mate at work has asked you about it?
Apart from old cases like Roswell, then no, not really.
People are talking about it now.
Not something that's happened so recently. But that might just be because they've got the access to it now. You know, we've all got phones. We're all seeing people talking on TikTok and Instagram and Twitch and YouTube. You know,
but
the world has changed.
The alien thing is trending.
It's been starting to trend for quite some time. I mean, it's now what 60% of Americans believe that they've seen something.
I thought that was higher.
It could be. It seems to be going up all the time. But whereas in the past, if you said, "Oh, I believe I've seen a UFO," you would have been laughed at.
Yeah, I'm from that school.
Now it's not quite the same. Okay, out of 10 people, half of them might still laugh. Half of them might be like, "Who cares?" My own sister today said to me, we were talking about this topic when I said I was coming on with you tonight, Ollie, and she said, "Yeah, but who cares?" Now, personally, I think that's very, very small-minded and can't get my head around why you wouldn't care.
I can see their point of view. That, you know, there's a hell of a lot going on in the world, and what would matter if we discover little green men and flying saucers or all this? So I get that. I know it shouldn't be that way because, man, mind blown, we're not alone. But then again, when you think logically, and I'm going to say what we all say, how many stars and how many planets are circling and how many of these stars are out there in the universe, we can't be the only thing out there.
There's absolutely no way. Absolutely no way. There has to be life in the universe.
I mean to rephrase that. We can't be the only so-called intelligent life out there. That's what I mean to say. Because I believe there's life. I just believe that it's on a microbial level. Wherever there's water, there's life. But there's a big but. We're basing that on carbon-based life forms. Now, for example, what if there was a silicon-based life form? Then what they need to live would be totally different. They might not even need water. So that throws it in the mix again.
And that is one of the things when people say, "Oh, if aliens come to Earth," and I've still not seen anything that proves that aliens have come to Earth, although I fully believe alien life exists in the universe.
In what aspect? That no aliens have visited us?
I don't believe there's any guaranteed proof. There's a lot of stuff which implies it so much. I mean, even Buddhist monks say that the first Buddha was friggin' 9 foot, blue skin. You know, they basically describe an alien, and they even say the star system that they believe it came from.
But couldn't see. Now, when you mentioned that, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Indians now, all their gods are blue skinned and pretty tall. And some of them even had UFOs ships that they were flying in the sky, and even having in their belief system, they've recorded that these things were having what one would call warfare in the skies. You know, find the drawings look like plasma, but then again, they drew explosions. So an explosion to them might you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but there's a picture that came from somewhere in Europe. I can't think of the name of the picture or exactly where it came from.
Hold that thought for 1 second, Q. Thank you so much, Jed, my old friend. We need to get you on. Everybody go fucking check out Jed Skeptic Media. Great channel.
Thank you,
awesome.
Jed.
Love you, brother.
Thumbs up from
Gonna have to get you on, especially the rock fin.
That was uncanny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good,
Do you
good
know
channel.
what's quite interesting is that if you look back through ancient religions, I mean, thousands of years, you see depictions of, but the ancient religions came from the stars, the solar system and all that, and they've always been talking about beings coming down from Earth. So this is deep in sort of ancient religion. So what you're saying, Q, that there's no evidence of extraterrestrials at this present time, I think I am totally in agreement with you. I think possibly thousands of years ago, maybe some sort of contact was made. I mean, we wouldn't be shooting them out of the sky like we do nowadays. We see a UFO, UAP, we ended up shooting out of the sky. This is what we do now. But back thousands of years ago, I think we were a bit more in tune with consciousness, possibly. So we're a bit more welcoming in that sort of aspect. So, yeah, the ancient religions always looked at the stars and always would say beings coming down, like blue beings and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's deep in mythology, definitely.
But like I'd even go back to the Bible, where again, I interpret that they could only describe what they were seeing by the stuff around them at that time, and they were talking about chariots flying, Ezekiel's wheel.
Yeah.
But correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't like throwing Ezekiel's wheel into the mix, because wasn't that he had a premonition, or he didn't actually see it? It was more like a dream. Am I correct, or am I any biblical people out there that could tell me if I'm wrong or right?
But is that a dream, a premonition? Is it foresight? The problem with the old texts is they're old texts, but so many of them actually throughout the world talk about extremely similar things, which does make me more interested in the whole ancient alien aspect of things. But again, we still can't prove it from that.
I get that, man. No, like I get what you're saying there. You want concrete, soluble proof, and what would that be? Some sort of alloy?
See, I don't know, because I once said, I want concrete proof, and they said, so if a craft landed on the White House lawn and a green person got out, would you believe that that's proof of aliens? And I said, well, yeah, probably. And they said, but it's not proof. It's not proof until we know where that thing has come from.
Well, not really, because it's proof that the thing showed up. But I would
Exactly.
like some sort of proof that Ollie, I think you're muted, but I would like some proof where I could go to a museum and have a look at it. Or if like, like when these people say they've been chipped, let's put it for that way, when they've been abducted and they've been chipped. Now, if they was to pull it out and get some doctor's certificate, that would be quite interesting for me. Some checkable doctor.
The thing is, like, without getting into
one guy doing that years ago, didn't we? But unfortunately, he passed away, and his proof wasn't actual proof. He was just pulling small metallic things from people, unfortunately.
Without getting into it on here, we have a Rockfin shirt. No, not what you're saying here, Hidden. But what I'm about to say, no, Hidden, not what you're saying. What I'm about to say, without getting on here, getting it.
Shut up, man.
I was just gonna say, about believing them when you see proof of aliens. I said to my missus and my mum and dad, if you ever see something and it's all on the news and the fucking aliens up in the sky, with what's gone on over the last few years and the fucking world going fucking bonkers, I would not believe it for a fucking second. Those twats can just fuck off, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't trust any of them. I think people in the UFO community a long time ago had a healthy fucking distrust for government. All of a sudden, fucking Joey Big Bollocks comes out, Lou, with his testicles dangling down, telling everybody, you know, all of a sudden everybody's like, fuck me, it's true, because government people are saying it, ex-military people are saying it, pilots are saying it. Well, I'm sorry, but when have we ever trusted authority when it comes to UFOs?
We're conspiracy theorists. This is like
exactly.
We don't trust the government. I mean, is anything we've learned in the past like 3 years without giving anything away? It's just no. I wouldn't even trust him as far as I can fucking throw him. But yeah, you're quite right, Ollie. Why are we suddenly trusting authorities when it comes to UFOs when we've been vilified for years? You know, laughed at, ridiculed, and then suddenly I'm supposed to trust the government? No,
I mean,
sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's absolutely true. I mean, this whole we did a show about which fucking everybody did, about them fucking swearing on oath.
Not me.
Grush. No, you didn't, mate. Good. You should stay well clear. Grush, fucking what's his name? David Fravor, Ryan Graves. And I said there was something about Grush. There's something odd about that guy that didn't kind of add up. The other two, I actually believe David Fravor did see shit. I believe he saw something. You know, because my mate is in the RAF. I've been out with him. He's in Lossiemouth in Scotland. I've been out with him, his mates. I've tried to get a pilot on the show. It's not going to happen. Pilots have a lot to fucking lose. I do think he saw something. I don't think Ryan's lying about the radar shit and all that. There's something really odd with Grush. He's telling a story, hearsay. He's telling somebody else's story, but now, all of a sudden, you're getting his mental background. Now, then I'm asking myself, why is that coming out now? Because surely that would have come out in the beginning. You would have disclosed that because he would have known. He would have known that we're going to come out.
You see the right.
If he wanted to be forthcoming.
But this goes back to the interview he had with News Nation. He was asked, "Do you have any history of medical issues?" And he mentions PTSD after he came back from Afghanistan, but he didn't mention that he went to a psychiatric ward or anything like that. He was locked up, you know, ordered by a judge. You know, that he didn't say any of that really. But it is quite odd that his medical background, Coulthard, what was his name? What's his name? The Australian interviewer. Is it Ross Coulthard? That's his name.
Yeah, I'll bring that. Actually, I'm going to bring the clip up.
Can I ask you? Can I ask you something, Nick? Did you just say that he was ordered to go to the mental institution?
I think by a judge. Now, I did listen to Stephen Campion's podcast. He went in a great deal into it, and from what he said, that he was ordered by a judge because he had something going on with his wife, and his wife went to the judge, and then the judge ordered Grush to go into a mental institution. From what I believe, don't quote me on that though, Hinden, but I believe that's what Stephen said.
Can I? You know, I'm a guy that stays away from this. Yeah,
absolutely, mate.
And I've always asked to see evidence of this. You know, of whatever they're saying, show us some evidence. But the moment I saw them trying to destroy his character with his mental records, with his health records, Now hear me out, Ollie. I'm a man that stayed out, but like what you said, why they doing this now? Maybe this guy said something that might actually be right. This game, there was a movie that Mel Gibson did called Conspiracy Theory. Have you guys ever seen this old Mel Gibson movie?
I fucking love Big Mel.
All right.
No,
well,
I don't know if I've seen that, but I do like Mel.
Check it out. Check it out. As a conspiracy theorist, man, that movie is awesome. Yeah. But anyways, the basic. I'm going to just give you the plot to it. Now, in the movie, this guy, he was nuts. He was off the rail, and he kept on writing all these conspiracy theory. And then all of a sudden, boom, the FBI is on his case, man. Yeah. But because he didn't know which theory was right that he was writing about, he didn't know why. And that's kind of like how it unfolds. And this is maybe what this guy's pulling. He's actually, there's probably one little grain of truth that this man has spoken, but because he said so much that you can't check out, and now they're trying to say he's nuts.
Is it just me, or has George Knapp fallen asleep in the audience there?
It's like a cheap knockoff of Santa or something like that, you know?
He's having a kip, mate. What do you guys think about? What do you guys think about that theory? Now, I'm a guy that's looking outside the fishbowl, but now I'm starting to watch the fish, if you get what I'm saying.
The thing is, even if you're making stuff up, if you come out as, let's say, a whistleblower, and you start saying, oh, the American government have UFOs, they've been doing research, they work out of these 10 different bases and name them all.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. What if one of the bases...
yeah, and that's what I was getting to. If you say one thing that is close to the truth, and they're concerned that people might prick their ears up at that and get onto something, they are going to try and shut you down. Now, whether it be because you've watched porn on your computer once,
no, just do
they
it on a
will
tablet.
try and find it, and they will say that you're a sexually perverted person. Or
just remember Bradley Manning's. Just remember Bradley Manning's. That's all I'm going to say. Just remember what they did to that guy.
I don't know who Big Brad is.
I think with the whole, going back to the whole Peru incident before we continue with this
absolutely
gentleman for choice of words,
I'll drop it down for a second.
I think that if there is more truth to this, if there is some legitimacy, there will be agencies that are jumping straight on the back with this. Now, that might mean that everything goes quiet and gets covered up, but there will be agencies that will investigate this properly on the hope that they can maybe capture one of these flying aliens or capture one of these miners with his jetpack. I think it will get investigated properly, but probably in the background that we will never hear about. But that is only if it is legitimate.
But what if, because we know that, who was the guy that fucking Dodie fucking fucked about with, that ended up taking his own life? They fucked about with him with UFOs for, I forgot the fuck his name. Not fuck, he's passed away. Rest in peace, guy. I forgot the guy's name that took his own life.
I don't know, Ollie. Sorry, mate.
So that there was a guy, and his name somebody will know in the chat, and he was working. I think it was near. That's the one, Paul Benowitz. Thank you, Philip Blair. Love the picture, by the way. Yeah, Philip Benowitz. He ended up killing himself after he had been fucked about with so much by the fucking US government. And
can you talk about? I don't know this guy, Ollie, so I'm gonna interrupt.
So I don't know the full ins and outs of this. I know.
What did he have? Did he have a video flying saucer or
No,
anything?
no, it was something to do with radio signals and all that, and basically it was the military base. They were fucking about with him. They were prattling about doing a test, and it was something to do with like radio signals and what have you. And this guy went fucking crazy. I have never really looked into it that much. Well, I'll probably have to do it. Stephen Campion's done a few shows about this guy. I'm not very good at retaining the information, then getting the information to you.
So I've never heard of this man.
But basically,
about how long ago was this?
Oh, this was in the 70s, I think. I'm pretty sure this was in the 70s.
That's why I wouldn't have heard of this guy.
Yeah. So they've done this kind of thing before. So I'm just wondering, what if this whole village thing is a test? What if they're just kind of like looking for a reaction? Forget them. I don't believe that. I'm gonna go balls deep.
Who are you saying looking for a reaction? The military or the aliens?
Whoever they are. No, I don't think it's aliens. I don't think it's aliens. If I'm honest, I really don't think it's aliens.
So then, hence,
I can't imagine aliens going around with fucking Nike fucking hover boots, dressed as the fucking Green Goblin. I can't get that.
Do you think it's all made up? This Peru story, just to get out of the way. Do you think it's all made up?
No, I don't. I definitely don't think it's made up. I think something's gone off. I think in my mind, I feel like somebody has fucked about with them. I don't think it's miners hidden. I really don't. I don't buy the miner story.
Do you think they possibly could have been putting hallucinogenics in their water?
No, I think genuinely something happened that scared the shit out of them.
Because this is the place where they do. Because this is the place where they do ayahuasca, isn't it?
What's ayahuasca?
That's a very good point.
Was what Graham Hancock talks about. It's like a very powerful hallucinogenic. This is like the next level sort of shit.
So Boys, could they all put it in the water?
Nick's good friends with Graham Hancock.
Or put some of this in their food. So it wasn't like the whole village. It was just a group of them. And then add in mass hysteria. Few people freaking out. Everybody else is freaking out. Hey, look over there.
Yeah, actually, good point, Hidden. I did mention that, like with a group of people, it just takes one person to trigger another person, and then it's like a crowd sort of thing. You know, it's like being in a rock concert. You all feeding off people's energy and vibes, and it just takes one person to get things going. I mean, if you look at like Christian,
3 of them better.
yeah. I mean, if you look at like Christian gatherings, you know, when we all gather together, you know, they're feeding off this energy, they're feeding off each other, and I think. I'm safe to say, I think apply this to this event. I think they've seen something, but
add some mushrooms in with that, man. Yeah,
good too. Yeah.
Well, and ayahuasca together. No, I don't think that's good.
But who? In fact, who would want to spike them though? Even that, add some hallucinogenics in it. Something happened.
Yeah.
But there's no real.
I think you mute.
No,
you muted Q.
Hidden Q.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Q was muted. Sorry.
That has all happened before. There's a video you can actually watch for free on YouTube called "Bad Trip to Edgewood," and that was a documentary that went out in the UK many years ago. It's about 45 minutes long, and it was soldiers. That were either going to get sent off to war, or they got the option to go to a camp, Edgewood, where they could test suits and gas masks. And it sounded pretty cushy in comparison to go to war. In actual fact, when they got there, they were being injected with LSD, BZ, all the nasty crap. It's a great documentary that everybody should watch. It's called A Bad Trip to Edgewood.
Is that where they got the movie Jacob's Ladder from?
It's I don't know whether they got it from that, but the stuff that you see in this documentary, because originally I believe they tried to get the documentary banned, but the problem was everything in it was true. It showed how the American government was driving around cars with a fake exhaust, pumping out diseases on the streets to see how many people would show up in hospital with this particular disease. They would
How fast
throw
it would spread.
different diseases in a light bulb in front of a train in the underground system, to see how many people, see how quickly a chemical attack would spread through the underground system.
Q,
But
is this in England? Is this what you're talking about happened
this
in England?
this was no, it happened in America. The base is called Edgewood. It was an American Air Force base
I see. Because what's interesting is that
or army base.
a newspaper article came out years ago. I mean, talking about 15 years ago. I clearly remember seeing it. Is the MOD admitting they were testing biological weapons on the British public since World War II, and they would have trucks going around in Lancashire and putting actual viruses out, and it's all like admitted. If you type in, yeah, I'm not joking. If you type in biological weapons 50-year test, there's a great YouTube channel called Jam Noise 73. She's like, I consider her the OG. Like, she's been going since like 2008 on YouTube, and she did a video on it, absolutely fantastic, when the article came out. This is like 15 years ago, a long time, but it's true. I'm not joking. The military was testing biological weapons on the British public, didn't tell them, and this is since World War II, and this is all in public as well. So
dirty dogs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what Q is saying, it's I'm not bloody surprised, to be honest with you, testing biological weapons on the public. Yeah, sickening.
I just thought it was something quite recent. Maybe recent. I mean, yeah, but yeah. Wow.
That's a good point. Jed's got there. Peruvians. So my wife's from. I keep saying it. My wife's from Ecuador. She's tiny. She's absolutely tiny. Her family are smaller than like us in the UK or like Americans or other people. Yeah, they're genuine. I think Peruvians as well, from the videos that we see, they look a little bit shorter than the average height over here. So maybe 7 foot could possibly be 6 foot,
Yeah.
To what they're judging. Still, to me, though,
perspective. Sorry.
Yeah, but perspective's a bitch. But still, to me, there's a story there. I think this story is fucking, as Lee would say, wild. It is. There's something to it. It has. It's got fucking boots. There is something there, and I think we're going to hear more down the line on it.
I hope so.
I don't think it's minors. Absolutely not. I'm more in the bandwagon to say somebody has been messing about with those people to make them think this. I'm not saying it's alien. I think somebody's possibly made them think that.
I don't think it's the last you hear this story. I think more is to come.
If it goes quiet, it goes quiet for a reason. But yeah, let me bring this up from David Grush, because it's interesting that this has come out now.
Yeah. Now, some saw that as Grush being dramatic. Well, now it seems that Grush is saying the government leaked his personal medical information to smear him, discredit his claims that he made against them. Joining us now is the man who interviewed him for that News Nation special, Ross Coulthard. It's good to have you, Ross. Thank you for doing this.
Good to be here, Chris.
So, Ross, tell us, what is the nature of the information that has come out, and why do we believe that it had to come from someone in government?
Okay, so earlier today, David Grush received an approach from a news magazine, an online news magazine called The Intercept. They're doing their jobs, that's fine. They've been fed information. The problem is the information that they've been fed is information that David had already privately disclosed to us and actually volunteered in his interview with me. It was a section of the interview that didn't go to air. But basically, he discussed with us when I asked him whether there was any dirt that anybody could drag out to try to discredit him. He barely thought this was worth mentioning, but he acknowledged that he'd suffered from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, when he returned from Afghanistan. David served his country honourably and with distinction. He's a decorated officer. And unfortunately, when he came back from Afghanistan, like a lot of men in your country and in mine, he struggled with the demons of what he'd seen in combat. And at one time, he wouldn't mind me telling you this, he was suicidal. And his lovely wife was so concerned about him that at one stage she did call the police because there were guns in the house. She wanted to make sure he was protected. And in the end, David was taken to a local hospital, given the treatment that he needed. And indeed, this is the most important thing, Chris, the intelligence community and the Defence Department clearly accepted that there was no issue because he was allowed to keep his security clearance and he continued to serve his country honourably. Now, there was in the documents that were prepared at the time, there was a thing called a temporary detention order, which transferred him to a medical psychiatric unit, an inpatient program, where he got the treatment that he needed. And this is a document that would be, if the media had done the right thing, it would be in his police department file, in the county sheriff's office. But Dave has checked today because he assumed that the journalist had done his homework and just asked the local sheriff for the files. The sheriff has confirmed it did not come from him. The only other place that had this information is the intelligence community. Dave's personal files inside the intelligence community, where quite properly, when anybody is security assessed, things like this have to be looked at. And somebody
so that's the
inside the intelligence community leaked it.
That's the crumb trail. The Intercept is an interesting outlet for them to go to after all their protection of Snowden. It's interesting that they would want to have anything to do with anything seen as negative. Now, I have two problems with this story. One is that if you're trying to fight transparency by smearing the guy who lit the fire for it, one, it's too late because the horse is out of the barn and we want to know no matter what happens to Grush, with all due respect. But the second one is that somebody thought that playing with his mental health would be a way to discredit him, which is playing into one of the ugliest stigmas in our society. Now, just, people are going to trust you, Ross. You've acquitted yourself brilliantly in this entire situation. But just in case you're saying, oh, yeah, they're just covering for Grush, listen to him in his own words from the interview. Here it is.
I served in Afghanistan, and I had a friend that committed suicide after I got back, and I dealt with that for a couple years, and I'm proud as a veteran who did not become a statistic, totally took care of that issue in my life, and it doesn't affect me anymore.
So you suffered PTSD?
I am, yes, I did.
Did that affect your explanation of what's happening today? Is it possible that you're deluding yourself?
No, absolutely not. I'm very proud to admit that that was an issue in my life, and I encourage veterans watching here to get help so they're not a statistic, like a good friend of mine.
So,
what do you boys
think? Did you notice? He goes when he asked question. He goes, "I am. I did." When he asked whether or not he had a PTSD, I believe. Notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of mumbled his words there a little bit. But is he on the autistic scale? Have I got this right? I haven't really looked into his medical detail. I think. Yeah, I've heard this rumor whether or not he's on the autistic spectrum. Is that right?
Well, most of us are. So some higher than others.
See, when he said, yes, I am, I did. I guess when you've been through something like that, I actually have a friend, another YouTuber, and he has gone through that. He actually works for the fire service, but he saw some bad stuff during his job. He went through a long battle with it. He's now back in the fire service. He had to redo all his tests and everything. If I was to ask him, do you still suffer from it? I think if he was being honest with me, he'd say yes, but I've kind of got it under control. That would not make me disbelieve him with anything he said, just because he has gone through something like that. At the same time, when it comes to Grush, I honestly, his story is just a story. It's all secondhand.
But do you think he believes what he's been given, the information?
Oh, he might well believe it, but just because he believes it doesn't mean it's true.
So you think he's being used?
Yes.
He's
either being used or he's lying. But I think more likely he's being used as a shill kind of thing.
Just not knowingly and thinking he's doing this for the greater good.
Possibly, yeah.
Because this story that's come out with mental health, I'm in the same bandwagon as you, Q. To me, that makes no difference to it, because we've just seen there he addressed that in the interview with Ross Coulthard. So that for people to say that makes a difference, he did address that. Did he go? My wife ended up calling the police, because why would you? You know, you're on an interview there's going to be essentially the interviews of all interviews when it comes to somebody revealing the truth about, are we alone in the universe? So what's going on? He's essentially got information there. He's not. He did address it, and I think the way he addressed it was the right way to address it. I don't think he needed to go, oh yeah, so yeah, I had issues. I drank a lot. I had PTSD. My wife ended up calling the police because we had guns in the house. You know, it's not exactly going to. He's not going to make the greatest interview.
Yeah, I think when he said, yeah, I do, and then changed it to I did, I think he was being perfectly honest there. And when he said I do, that's actually the truth. You know, he's still got that shit going on in himself, a demon that he's got to fight. But does that mean he's a liar? No, I don't believe that makes him a liar. I think he just changed what he said because he realized, oh shit, people are going to jump on that bandwagon.
But would it make him the best guy to discredit if he spoke about what he'd been told?
It would just make him easier to be discredited, wouldn't it? Oh yeah, he's fucking batshit crazy. He's suffering with PTSD. He's a fucking madman. It just makes it easier for him to be discredited, whether he deserves it or not. And don't get me wrong, everything he said, I'm not going with that flow.
He looks too confident when he says it. He
He's
looks
a flying saucer.
he looks far too confident when he says it. But either that, maybe he looks that confident because the people who have told him this, he has the utmost respect for, and believes everything that comes out of their mouth.
To me, I always think, and I don't know why, I always think he looks disconnected. Now, I don't know whether there's there's something in that, but I don't know. I'm just not buying
I get what you're saying.
the story that he's telling, whether he believes it or not. But I don't know. I'm just not buying it.
The reason why I didn't want to bring up Grush tonight, but
you did anyways.
No, I did anyway. I said to Stu today. I said pop Grush in the interview at the beginning for the intro, because I honestly think these things are linked. When you look at what Grush said, that these things have there's possibly been human casualties involved in this. Then you look at this Peruvian thing with these things that are possibly terrorizing. Then you go to fucking my absolute legend of ufology, Dr. Greer himself.
Could I say something though? Please,
just let me get the nipple out, because I've got the nipple right here. When you look at what has happened, I don't know if you guys have watched the Sean Ryan interviews where he had all Greer's guys on one after another. You had the guy talking about the human trafficking UFO. You had the guy talking about the big fucking monolith UFO, and you had the Antarctic guy. One thing that stands out here for me is Grush, aliens, Grush, non-human entities are possibly hurting human beings. The guy human trafficking with the UFO story also was the guy who was up with Greer. And the Peruvian case, where humans have been terrorized by something that is possibly what they think is non-human. Now, it's just a lot to take in such a small space of time, and it's literally 3 months when we've had this. In three months we've had all this. It's like it's a fucking banquet.
I think it's just a trend. I think it's a trend, isn't it? Now, is you have to admit, UFOs and aliens and all this sort of ufology now it makes views, and that's a lot. Is it important for people's, view counts when it comes to YouTube? So it's almost like an industry, like a business now. To be honest with you.
I just wanted to say the thing about the UFOs. I mean, we've had contact with these beings. Yeah, the story that maybe Grush is saying. I'm not on about the Peruvian now. Yeah, but you remember when you said that Grush said that, there's. Did you say about encounters that Grush has said this? This is attributed to what Grush has said.
So Grush has said that there has been crash retrievals. There has been bodies from those crash retrievals.
Well, what about them and the humans?
There has been human casualties
from alien contact.
Didn't say the word alien. Doesn't like to use that.
I know the word. Yeah. But again, what is non-human? A monkey that can do sign language, is that non-human intelligence?
A fucking bazooka.
But we said that the other day, and I agree with that. So let's call it. Let's say, look, Grush and Inlock could be selling you an old story from the Brazilians, from the human mutilations where they had the two bodies. Do you guys know about this?
Yeah.
So what if he's telling you? What if he's coming back and rehashing an old story to you?
Say that again. Say that again, because I don't.
Could you explain it? Could you? You know it, guys. If any of you know it, because I'm getting my roll on, man. Happy 420.
No, you go ahead, Hidden.
The case about the two mutilated bodies found out in Brazil, I believe it was Brazil, and they're similar to how you would the cow mutilations, but they're like the one like they had some hole in their body, looked like it was burnt by a laser. Looks
Oh
like
no, sorry. No,
Yeah?
no, I haven't seen that one.
You
Mate.
ain't,
No,
you
no,
ain't heard
sorry.
about that. I think that happened like in the 80s, man.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a proper some old documentation. It's really old story, man. But
Is there
what is
photographs
that?
of this?
Man, there's yeah.
Do you know what?
I believe the photograph of all this comes from the guy who was guarding the body, if I remember rightly. I think they screwed up, and they got if I remember calls me, they got like some what we would call a deputy sheriff to stand over the bodies while the military came for this stuff. I believe it was a man and a woman.
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's an old story, but this is my point about the grift. When I hear them talking their stories, I automatically think of an old story that they're trying to sell us as new. Do you get what I mean? So he might not be lying, but then I just don't. But now that they're trying to, this is my point. Now, like I told you, I'm a guy on the outside. You know this, Solly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mess around with these people because you know what? I don't need a man to tell me that there's something up in the sky.
Sound like my wife there. I don't need a man to tell me.
Well, sorry, a guy in a suit that will swear under oath that things that I knew existed ages before these guys sat there and told me about these things. The possibilities of these things, and now they're just confirming old stories. You know, that's where I see, because I see it as a grift. I'm like this. You turn up with a piece of hard evidence, man. And I think he might have said something like base 27 has this. And he might actually been right.
I always think who benefits from this? So who benefits from everything that's going on with the Congress hearings and the Senate hearings and all this? Is it Grush? Is it the public?
I think Lou hit it right, man. I'm always going to give Lou. What's his name?
Lou Reviews. Lou
yeah, I think he hit it right, and I'm with him. I agree 100%. In this, it's always follow the money. It's going to be, what did he say? What did he say, Ali?
He said follow the money a lot.
No, he said about how they're going to do it. They're going to set up like companies, or they're going to have companies. He called it.
Oh yeah, I can't remember you'll have to go back on.
I'm stoned, man. But they're basically
really?
They're basically these guys are gonna sit like on chairman, like I think Grush has got one, hasn't he? A company ready to take a little chunk out of this budget that's
There's
coming
something he's got, yeah. There is something he has, but
they're all sitting on him. I reload. They're all sitting on him. The subcontractors, ain't they?
Okay.
Subcontractors, I think that's what they're called, and they're going into this because if you're looking at the budget, man, and I've been asking some questions, and there's tens of billions, and it's probably getting up to 100 billion in this budget, and they all want a little bite of the pie, man.
Well, it makes sense to put these contracts out to other companies, because if we ask a question of, let's say, the American government, by their law, they do have to give an answer. But if it's something that's given out to a private company, let's say Lockheed, because they're not government, they don't have to say anything. So it makes sense to split things up so that the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. And at the same time, the left and the right hand don't have to answer anything because they're not government. They're private company.
Yeah, where did that 20 million of Congress funding go to? Well, I don't have to say nothing. I don't have to answer to you.
Money disappears out of the American budgets
Exactly.
all the time.
Exactly.
To the
Exactly.
black
So
programs.
so why ain't this just another a group of people banding together to get some cheddar? Why ain't this that kind of scenario? Because they ain't telling us nothing that really we don't know already.
Do you not
Would they
find,
just
though-
sorry, I'm shutting up, Ollie.
No. I'm just saying, do you not find with this? I think it's great that we always that like we go down the debunk route and we want to call out shit because that needs to happen. But do you not find that the subjects that you began by looking up at the stars and in wonder, that all we want to do now is shit all over that wonder, when there might be stories out there, and this might be this could be the purpose of all the bullshit, to make us miss out on the stuff that really matters, because we are looking at the shit, and that's all we're doing. We're looking at the flies circling around the shit, and we pay no attention to anything out there that is actually solid.
So the information, so the information we're getting from Grosh and all that is a distraction, possibly.
Who cares?
Because
I honestly don't know, Nick.
Because honestly, it's the same stories we've heard before. You know, it's nothing new. You know, it's just we go around in circles. It's just like a broken record. And I've been in the UFO phenomenon for a long time, and I'm just like, it's just like nothing unless you have evidence, good evidence. Even if we had really good evidence, I think vast majority of people would go, "Oh, that's fake. It's AI now because AI is really taken over." I mean, I've seen some unbelievable stuff what AI can do. So we're at that stage now. We have to take in AI can easily fake stuff now. So if we do get the amazing evidence, where does it come from? Is it going to come from Grosh? I don't think so. But I'm with you, Hidden. I totally agree. I think it's all grifters. I think it's just a way to make money. And he got nothing to back up on. Nothing. So I'm with you, brother.
Thank you.
This is why I like this.
I'm not that high.
This is why I like this villager's case.
Yeah.
Because the miners just added another Columbo bit to it. You know, where you've got to figure out. But in fact, fuck that. If you got Columbo in the room and said, "Here's the story: village has been attacked by a green fucking goblin, that has hovering boots that glow red, but it's okay. Miners have been doing it." I think he'd pull that face, that eye thing, like as if to say,
I just picture Scooby Doo, man.
That miners bit, I think there's something in this, because you've got this full village, somebody who speaks the fucking lingo, who speaks English, needs to go in that village and speak to the people, interview the motherfuckers.
Oh, Jaime, earn your pound of flesh.
No, absolutely not that guy.
Yeah, but he could do it. He's the big enough man to go down there. He's got all this money. Him and his son could drive their backside down to this village, even hire a helicopter and go there and cover potentially one of the biggest stories coming out of South America. Why don't you earn your dollar, man?
And if anybody's watching from the village, when I call you motherfuckers, I call everybody motherfuckers. I even call my kids that, and my wife.
No, you don't.
And on a serious note, somebody needs to do that. Somebody needs to go to that village, interview the people that were involved in that, and say that, this is what they're saying it is, that it was miners terrorizing you, and look at the reaction. That's what needs to happen. You can tell when somebody has is telling the truth when they're being interviewed. They're you know, especially if it's a natural interview and it's not just if you know, who's the guy that we watched, Nick? That we put. I will put the link in the description because it's a great show. I watched the full thing that showed the alien, well, the green thing on the roof that we couldn't tell what it was, the blob.
Oh, Timothy Alberino.
Yeah,
Timothy
he
Alberino.
speaks the lingo. He spent time out there. If I was that YouTuber, I would be on a fucking plane.
Yeah, I think they uploaded that video not long ago. I think it was like today, quite recent. So, yeah, you should go out there if he's.
He knows
he's the guy who.
He says he knows the area, doesn't he? He did say that he knows the area.
He lives there. He said he lives there, and he's been saying this activity has been happening for months. Well, it's a perfect opportunity to make a bit of that sweet UFO money. You know what I mean? But
well, it's not even that. Yeah. I'm sure people would gladly get together, get him a decent camera. And there's some people, you know. I think Jaime should earn his money though, because he's rich. Don't you, Ollie? Don't you, Q?
Why not?
He's got a lot of money. He can fly. He can fly a helicopter out there and go check this. What happened to all the good UFO? You know, it's just money, man. I wish that was happening around here because I'd ask for donations. I'd tell them straight, guys, I can't get out there, but I'm going to cover this for you.
If I was a UFO, if I was a UFO channel, alien channel, kind of is, whatever it is. If that's all I did and I made my money on that, I made quite a bit of money. If those cases were happening, I would be on a fucking flight.
So earn your money, Jaime. This is Alien Addict calling you out.
That's what they need to do. That's what they need to do. We say this so much about the field. Boots on the fucking ground.
Yeah.
Prove it. People, get to that village.
Yeah.
Someone needs to get out to that village, interview them.
You can be true UFO investigators or even aliens. Something's happened, I agree. Whether they were spiked, chemically sprayed, some miners were messing about with them. Hey, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. You know, whatever, man. Somebody we need, yeah. I think I agree. We need to look into this. Something don't make sense.
I think it's quite a big story at the moment. I guarantee some YouTuber is going to go out there. I think the mainstream media is going to probably back off. So you're probably going to rely on YouTubers who's going to go out there and do their investigation. But how thorough that is going to be, who knows? But yeah, I reckon because it's relatively new. It's only a couple of days, I think. That has actually happened, so it's quite fresh off the page. So I think in a matter of a couple of days, you're going to get more information about this. Like I said, I don't think it's the last time you're going to hear anything about this story. So,
no. Well, on that note, boys, we have hit the 2-hour mark. I could probably speak about this thing for hours. But I don't think this is going to be the last of this. I think we'll probably come round to this once we get. There's such little information out there.
Would you like me to send you whatever I find? Because
absolutely, everybody send me whatever you find. Spam that fucking email. That I would appreciate if I stop getting the fake sponsor videos. People just keep coming at me with, you know, do you want to sponsor Manscape? And then it comes up with an email that I've never seen in my life that is blatantly a foreign email. Yeah. I ain't falling for that.
It comes with the territory, mate. It ain't gonna stop.
That's the email. You got information on this. If you out of the villages, maybe I can convince my wife to come on the show with you, and she can translate.
So hear that
out. That would be cool. I think Stu messaged me saying maybe get my missus to do full translation, dub over all of it. Possibly could convince us to do that, as long as she's not on camera, maybe. Boys, Q, do you still have a channel?
Yeah, I just haven't posted on it for quite some time.
Q has a channel, people.
Yeah, I think one of my last videos was actually debunking a friend of mine, Tim,
Oh, dear.
UFO man.
Oh,
Are
dear.
you still friends?
Yeah, yeah. I only debunked him because this video was shit.
And what was his comment to the debunk?
He said he thought I was a little bit harsh, and my answer to him was, if he hadn't have put out such a piece of shit, I wouldn't have been harsh.
Did he take it down? Did he take it down?
He actually did.
I've had run-ins with
That's
him.
not the first video he's taken down because of one of my videos, but he tries to be a good guy. It's just he
seems like a nice man, does Tim?
He's a lovely guy. He is a lovely guy. He's a good friend of mine. I was actually speaking to him just a couple of days ago. But yeah.
Do you speak with the Out There channel anymore?
Paul, yeah. Paul actually wanted me to go on with him about 3 weeks ago, something like that, 2 weeks ago. But with the way my work works, you know, the hours I do, because I work 4 days on and 4
Is he
days
New
off.
Zealand? Is he New Zealand?
Yeah. But yeah, Paul wanted me to go on. I'm still happy to go on with Paul, providing I can actually talk during the fucking stream, because sometimes you don't get that much of an opportunity. But I know Paul's got a lot of haters, and I understand why.
I don't mind him.
But at the same time, Paul tries to do the right thing. He's a good guy. He is a good guy.
He's definitely in it for the right reasons.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Hidden, what you got coming out next?
I don't know.
Why did I know you were going to say that?
Because you know me, man.
By the way, anybody in the chat or anybody who's watching this now who doesn't know who Hidden Underbelly, he's like I think you're the third biggest UFO channel when it comes to putting UFO videos out. You are the third biggest.
Jaime's bigger than me. I'm not that huge. Jaime, get down there. Get to Peru, man. Come on. Hashtag Jaime, get to Peru.
Notice when you're watching one of Hidden's edits, which are very good, he's high as shit while he's doing that as well. There's a fucking talent there.
It's a skill.
Thank you.
Nick, the name is there. Investigates with Nick. Go subscribe, people. What you got going? I know you do a lot of the gardening stuff, Nick, but you're gonna the UFO stuff.
Yeah, well, what I've done, I've just done an update video. I haven't uploaded it yet, but basically I'm splitting the channel up. So Investigate with Nick is going to be more UFOs, paranormal sort of stuff. And then I've got a gardening channel. So my channel's all over the place at the moment with all time-lapse videos. But yeah, stay tuned. I do have other stuff going out, but it's going to be split up into two channels, basically. So yeah, follow me at Investigate with Nick.
Channels will all be in the description, people. So go check them out. And also, you can check us out on Rockfin.
Where was
that? Rockfin. We did a show last night. I wasn't there. It was Lee and Dave and Orphan Red. That is where you can find it. Rockfin, if you've not heard about it, people, what the fuck are you doing? If you're into conspiracies, that's the place to go, because that is all that platform does. It's free to check. It's free. It's free. You don't have to pay for it.
Was Orphan Red talking about Flat Earth?
No, she wasn't. They were talking about the Peru case.
Oh, interesting. Oh, nice.
I think Flat Earth. Orphan Red is a flat earther.
Yeah, I know. I'm not, by the way. Just like
me neither. Me neither. I like to dip my toe in those videos, though. I find that fascinating.
True. What's wrong with not being a flat earther?
there's nothing wrong with it. See, this is the thing as well. I will say this, and I said this in because I was watching.
I'm taking offense.
I was watching Lee's pre-show on YouTube, and I made a comment in there. I said, "Alien addict, hollow earth, flat earth, whatever you're into, you're welcome here. I don't give a fuck. We're all human beings. We're all fucking. We don't know anything. We literally know nothing. All we do is we read books. I don't. We watch documentaries. We watch YouTube. We watch fucking TikToks, Instagram, and all that jazz. And we don't know which way to look. So I don't blame anybody for what they believe.
Just look up.
I just look at people and think, I like that person. I'll have them on. Let's speak to them. This Sunday, people, we have ex-NASA engineer Bill Vail. We did the interview with his author, Monica Miller. That was a few weeks ago. He didn't want to do any shows, but he watched our interview and got in touch with Dave and said, I want to come on the show. So it's going to be, I think he said it's going to be the last interview that he was on. I don't know if it was the Sci-Fi Channel. He was on some sort of paranormal thing. But
when's that again?
That's this Sunday. This Sunday at 9 p.m. UK time GMT.
I'm going to promote that, man.
4 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, Hidden. I appreciate that. Anything that you promote would be great, seeing as you've got the fucking numbers on all those motherfuckers. Your promotion means a lot, my lad.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to watch it, man.
But yeah, it's gonna. I'm going to ask him about seeing as he used to work for NASA, and it sounds crazy, a NASA guy believing in demons, but he does.
Oh, it's going to sound like an awesome show.
That's this Sunday.
I'll be in work, mate. But I'll check it out after the fact.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. By the way, boys, have any of you seen this?
Now, here's the deal. One, the UFO phenomenon is not real. My brain. The UFO phenomenon has been here a long time.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I'll leave you with that. Good night. God bless people. Mind the books don't bite. I'm Alien Addict. Hidden, Q, and Nick. Like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. Alien Addict. Fucking hashtag that mother twat.
Well, now it seems that Grush is saying the government leaked his personal medical information.
Have you faced any retaliation or reprisals for any of your testimony or anything?
He acknowledged that he'd suffered from PTSD when he returned from Afghanistan.
He's like one of the best UFO investigators out there, and he was one of the first people to throw cold water on all of this. So what was your first clue, Ben? You were so quick.
Well, thanks for teeing me up for such high expectations, first of all. So what's really weird about this... The whole thing is weird. Okay, so let's try to unpack this a little bit. A lot of the events that are being reported are true. We have video of the authorities showing up. We have video of the villagers running out into the jungle shooting at something, okay? But after the investigation, what they come out with is they say that the prosecutor says that they believe the police investigation summarizes that these were miners protecting gold, okay, with jetpacks, that they're flying around on jetpacks with hoods and masks and glowing something and going around cutting people's throats. So let that sit just for a second. It really sounds like an episode of Scooby-Doo.
if you've been one of the, I think we got up to 108 live watches tonight, and you've been tight enough not to leave a like, and you're still here, what the fuck are you doing?